I want you guys to imagine. I thought of this little exercise last night. Well, let me preface this for those of you who don't know. Let me give you the specifics. Oh, also, look what I got at Aldi yesterday. Look at this little IM Group phone stand.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't think she charged me for it.
That's the best part. I still use my Marcus Smart one from a giveaway at a game a couple years ago.
How
does it work? Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
It actually works. It actually plays.
Ooh, that was good. Okay, so anyway, for a buyout to happen, the player, the team, yada yada, they got to negotiate the player's remaining salary. Once it occurs and a player is put on the waivers, it takes 48 hours for him to sit on waivers. Mm-hmm. And if he clears waivers, he becomes an unrestricted free agent, can sign with any team. The big thing to note is that they have to be signed by March 1st. That they have to have cleared waivers by March 1st if you want them to be on your team for the playoffs. The reason I bring this up is it looks like the Grizzlies have an open roster spot. The Johnny Davis spot is still filled, but TBD was, yeah, I mean, TBD is like the most underwhelming response you can. How do you feel about that guy? TBD. Yeah. It's just that leaves one open roster spot. Now the Grizzlies
he's worse than bad. Like they're just willing to say like we'll pay you to stay at home until we find somebody that we want. Then we're going to cut you.
Yep.
And pay you a lump sum rather than your bi-weekly pay schedule. We'll just pay you the rest and then you can just do whatever you want to. Like he can't even sign with a new team. He's just like
he's in purgatory.
Yep.
He's
in basketball purgatory.
Iguodala situation.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Without the ESPN pity parade.
Yeah, because no one knows who Johnny Davis is. Sorry,
exactly.
And granted, who knows? The Grizzlies, he's not going to be on this team now. Do they convert one of these two ways into a main roster spot? Maybe the only one that I would.
Interesting question.
Yeah, the only one that I would do would be Cam, but he's out. I mean,
likely out for the year at this point. Wayno with he had his ankle stuff, then he had the thumb surgery. I don't know that we'll see Cam Spencer. If we do, it'll be late in the season. He had thumb surgery, and that's going to take a while.
So,
I don't expect him to be a contributor, right?
But you think he might play?
Yeah.
Daniel says, "Sign me up for purgatory."
Absolutely.
The best job in the world is being a backup quarterback in the NFL. You just get paid to stand on the sideline, watch football, hold a clipboard, and this is what Johnny Davis is doing. He's getting paid to watch basketball in purgatory.
Yep.
He doesn't even have to watch basketball.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to leave his house.
He can just sit there. So whether or not they convert one of these 3-2-way guys remains to be seen. We'll see if they leave. I guess there's also a full chance that they leave this spot open and they just head into the playoffs for the 14-man roster and not have that 15th spot filled. For the sake of this exercise, here's what we're going to do. We're going to pile up. I'm like, hey kids, let's get in the family Forerunner, and you see all these stupid bumper stickers on the back, and you're like, well, there's a lot of bumper stickers, Dad. And we haul in, and I'm like, we're going to the buyout market. It's Tuesday. The buyout market is every single Tuesday. And I'm like, look at all this fun stuff. And you see your carrots and your Amish donuts. And then you see a bunch of NBA players hanging out under a tent, and they're just sitting there, they're swaying, they're like, maybe they're doing some dribbling.
Doing the little NPC, like waiting queue.
Some of them are like, if it glitches, they're just like walking into the door. They like can't.
It sounds like First Monday in Ripley.
That's what I was about to say. Luke, you got to come to Ripley, Mississippi on the first weekend of the month because we've got it's like the most redneck trade show in the world. Like it's just a field of permanent structures that's just like permanent pavilions. People bring their campers in and sell their bootleg T-shirts and chickens and baseball bats and cards and
memorabilia.
If
it's not there, it doesn't exist. And I've got a story about having to drive a goat home from there in the back of my Ford Bronco for another day. And it's just like it's a hot mess express, man.
So back by the goats is where they would keep your almost washed NBA players.
Yeah, yes, you got Kyle Anderson back there just doing this.
Your Larry Nance Juniors.
This sounds way better than where I was thinking because I love that there's a pavilion where each player can stand in. So you got all these pavilions to look at players. I'm going to give you guys some names, and you just tell me if you would maybe take them. And granted, these are guys that I'm not like, there's some guy, Larry Nance Jr. I thought about, but he's out for like 6 weeks. I think there's certain players that I really liked that I didn't include on here, but these are just some names. And I don't know if anybody you got to remember, what's the point in bringing somebody in if they're not going to play and if they're not going to make you guys better? Right. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to throw out some names. First one that I thought of, what about, do either of you guys like Bones Hyland?
No.
I like some aspects of his game, but I don't like him in the locker room. No,
he was looking to be a solid player, high upside, like Lou Williams, kind of bench heater for Denver, and they just got rid of him for nothing because they couldn't stand him being around a good team. Like, I don't want any part of somebody who can't be a part of a good team.
Mm-hmm. I'm completely with you guys. Guy can put up numbers, but when you have a problem, when you complain and say it's a quote unquote shit situation, I say quote. I guess I can say when you're playing with Denver and Nikola Jokic, just like, dude, come on, get your head right.
Yeah.
And granted, this is someone that was waived. He's on the waivers right now. I think Atlanta waived him yesterday, so I'm sure someone will pick him up. I don't want the Grizzlies to. Here, what about Kelly Olynyk? Because I do think there are some big names, quote bigs, on the market that I think could potentially help in the rotation. The first two that I'm thinking of, Kelly Olynyk, which I believe he's a buyout candidate.
He's a candidate, but he hasn't been bought out yet.
No, I didn't think he had. New Orleans, right?
Yes. Yeah. And the other big that I want to talk about is Chris Boucher for the Raptors, who also has not been bought out yet and may not be bought out. He's having the best season he's ever had and playing really well, but what are the Raptors doing? The Raptors are a wild card. But Kelly Olynyk and Chris Boucher were two bigs that I were like, I actually like both these players, and I think they could bring something to our big rotation. I just don't know. Because neither of these guys have been bought out, so I don't know if their teams will buy them out. They might not even be on the market.
Of the two, Kelly Olynyk to me kind of has proven a little bit more of what he could do for this team. He can bring a bit of that edge. He can some toughness in the post for us. I like how he could pair alongside Jaren. I like Kelly Olynyk of the two. If I had to pick one, I think I would lean more Kelly Olynyk. Though I do like Chris Boucher's name or game. I just think we've seen more of Kelly Olynyk.
I like his name.
To this team. I like his name.
Yeah.
I like his
game. Never seen Chris Boucher play basketball.
Oh, come on. Never. We've seen him play for some garbage Raptors games.
Yeah. Only when he's playing against the Grizzlies, and we all turn those games off. Be honest with the listeners.
I've done a post-game bounce, had to watch the whole thing. All right, thanks.
And I know all of us watched Boucher play on that Raptors team that won the title. He played on that team, so we can all say we at least watched that.
His brother was a Mud Dog.
Boom. Go Bobby. Go Bobby. Man, my favorite scene from that movie is at the very end when it cuts to the assistant coach and his overalls are off. And I think that's he's just touching his nipples. It's so funny.
I'd be remotely interested in Olynyk. I feel like Olynyk is a polished, playoff experienced. What's that guy? Big tall guy that plays for our team that shoots a lot of threes. With the ball spot.
J-Huff with the ball spot.
Yeah.
Damn.
I can say it. I've got my bona fides in the bald spot, community. So I can say it. Yeah, I would say he's just like a J-Huff with a little bit of playoff experience.
And he rebounds.
That's the rebounding is for me. I'm like, I want someone.
Kelly Olynyk at least rebound.
Canadian Dirk.
Oh man, that's funny. I do see shout out DG. He says Malcolm Brogdon. I believe the Wizards are holding on to all of their guys. So I believe Brogdon, Smart, and Chris Middleton already said that. Another name that I really like that is obviously also going to Bruce Brown. Raptors or the Pelicans are keeping.
I think they're keeping him too.
Yep.
I think the Pelicans came out and said they were going to keep all their guys. I think
so. Can I lob a name out there?
Yeah,
you may have him on your list, but there's one that I've been eyeing. He's played on, I think, 4 or 5 different teams this year. He's already played the Grizzlies about a half dozen times. But I liked his name. He came up with the Cam Johnson trade, but Dennis Schroeder is going to get balled out by the Jazz. And if he can bring in,
he's at Detroit. They're keeping him. They're keeping him.
Detroit's keeping him. Yep. Okay. Last I saw that he was a buyout candidate, and if he got bought out, he's a name that I would love to bring to Memphis for the toughness, the edge. He gives us what we were talking about, what we'd missed from Dylan Brooks, and I think that Schroeder fits what we need on his basketball team.
Yeah, well, and then there's another. I'm glad you said Brooklyn because there's another guy on their team that I like. Bogdanovich, Bojangles. That's another guy that I'm just not sure what his situation is. They're still trying to figure out their roster. There's a couple of these teams a couple of these guys that I like that might not actually get on the which is a shame because there's some dudes that are on these lists that could really potentially help some guys. I do think that I saw Lonnie Walker in the comments. I'm not entirely sure what Lonnie Walker's situation because I know he's playing in Europe right now.
He got signed yesterday by the Philadelphia 76ers.
76ers.
Oh, boom. So there it is.
That would have been the best option, I believe, because I think that's the position we need the most is a backup point guard. So Schroeder did get bought out fine. Lonnie Walker would have been fine, but he was playing in Europe. And they didn't have a suitor for an NBA team. So I mean, this buyout market, it's really like purchasing goods from First Monday. I mean, there are no solutions here. There's just break in case of emergency options.
Yeah, there's a couple other guards, Reggie Jackson and Trey Jones.
Those
Tyus Jones' brother. Both of them are on the buyout market as a couple options for a backup point guard. And then for another guy level of toughness.
Chicago released Trey Jones?
He is a buyout candidate. He has not been bought out yet, but he's one that is a buyout candidate.
I don't see him making the market.
Reggie Jackson, that's somebody that I had on. That's a dude with championship pedigree who seems to contribute to exactly what you said, to a backup point guard who doesn't know exactly that's what he does. He doesn't do anything else. He's like, I'm your backup point guard. I know what I do. I know my role.
Defense.
And he plays defense, and people like him. And he brings championship pedigree. He was on that Denver team. I like Reggie. And how much was his? Yeah, I think it's a no.
It is a no for me.
It's a no. I mean, we can play the song, but we can keep the song, but not the player.
If you say his name one more time, you're going to timeout.
It's like Bol all over again. Bol in the comments is Mo Bamba.
I'd rather have Bol 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah. Yeah.
What about PJ Tucker from the Raptors? Post player, toughness.
And the Raptors are a team that I just don't know. There's so many guys at the end of their roster where I was like, I like all the. There's some dude I would take some of these guys I think can help, but I don't know what they're doing.
They have locked themselves in to like the 9 seed for the next 5 years.
Yeah, man, I feel bad for Darko.
They don't even know how to tank appropriately. They were tanking, and then all of a sudden they went 10 in a row, and it's like, I mean, that's great, but now you're a basketball purgatory.
Brandon Ingram.
Yeah. Man, it's like I don't know what Portland is doing now. Or we can talk about team. We might have an old episode of like, what the hell is this team doing? But there's Reggie Jackson is one that I think that's the biggest. I mean, I think he was already waived. Real quick, I want to throw this up there. FPJ Tucker to the moon. FPJ Tucker to the moon and back.
Sounds like a Sinatra song.
Yeah.
F me to the moon.
There it is. Yes. I think Reggie Jackson has already said that he's going to be waived, and they're just trying to find someone to buy him.
I would take a stab at Reggie Jackson if I was this front office for sure.
He makes $2.1 million.
Oh my gosh!
I love a guy that wears goggles.
Me too.
I mean, that's it, man. He Horace Grant throwback. Like, give me that. And he plays defense, championship pedigree, which is what we need.
Yep. I think that it's not
hits massive home runs. Mr. October. Reggie Jackson.
Oh God. Okay. The kids just made me mad at the buyout market. I'm like, all right, we're leaving. I don't know. It's just it's not a great, if you're going into the buyout market looking for a solution to fix your problems, you're probably not going to go very far. Right. That's why I don't think I would be okay if the Grizzlies, if they just go in with 14. I mean, if they left that spot open with the intent of maybe converting Cam's contract at the end of the year, I'm okay with. I'm not. Hey, we need to go in with a full deck here. I don't want to give. God forbid we sign someone that I don't like and we give TJ another guy to another guy that he like. I won't be upset if we go in.
And not to be a wet blanket on this situation, but they got to want to come to Memphis as well. And we've not seen a lot of proof lately that anybody wants to come here. Like, it just is what it is. We keep having stars tell us, don't trade for me. Like, I know this is not the caliber of player, but you got to think that for guys like Reggie Jackson, who's got playoff pedigree, you got to hope that you're the only team calling or you're going to offer the most money,
Or if you're looking for a championship, like the guys who turned us down some of the stars this year was about money. Like KD, Jimmy Butler are not going to get re-signed here, and they're not going to get a massive deal because we're paying Jaren. And so some of that, it's not all on the city of Memphis. a lot of it's on our financial flexibility. But if you want to win and you're a guy like Reggie Jackson who's come close and played for championships and all that, like if you want to go win a championship, come to Memphis, man, because like we're literally we're a piece away from a championship type team.
It's not a Reggie Jackson. It's not a Reggie Jackson side.
It's not. I'm saying, like, if you want to be on a championship team, like, come to Memphis.
We are a Reggie Jackson away from.
That's not what
Nobody
has
ever said that.
I would love that. If we were at a point where we were a Reggie, I'd be so happy.
I mean,
if we were a Reggie Jackson away, then we have arrived.
We are here.